This is Reese Weiland with Reese Weiland Custom Knives, and you're listening to the Bladeology podcast.
All right, so we're going to jump into it like we do every week. Welcome to another episode of the Bladeology podcast. We're here again with another guest this week. We're on a roll. But first, we're going to make sure we're all here. I'm Jeremiah Burbank from PVK Vegas.
Nick Chuprin of NCC Knives.
Matthew Christensen of Christensen Knifeworks.
Nice. Welcome to the podcast, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah, I think this will be fun, and we'll get some good info out of here. So what are you working on right now? What's going on? What do you got on the bench?
Right now I have a couple orders, like always. Working on actually like a full dress knife right now. And then I have Hawaii coming up in April, so I have them kind of putting them together. So I got a couple new models that I'm going to debut at the Hawaii show. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Oh, that's gnarly. That Hawaii show, man. I've never been to that one yet.
The only show we didn't do last year.
Yeah.
I guess it's the bigger show this year. Like, it's double the size. They have a different venue and stuff. So
wow.
I had an opportunity to go and stay with one of my friends, a customer friend. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going if I could stay with someone and not have to pay $300 a night for a hotel. So
yeah, because the flight's expensive too. Because you told me you were going, I was looking at flight. It's like every other year I look at flights to go for that show. I'm like, if I go, at least it's a work trip. But then it's still like $1,200 to fly out there from New York.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna do a first class, but I was like, because that's a long flight. But I was like, I'm gonna save $700 and just get a layover and do like the premium economy, I guess you call it. But I've never been out there. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'll be there for a whole week.
Whoa.
The show is only on Saturday evening or afternoon for a couple hours. So,
okay.
Oh, it's like the Kentucky show.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's only it's a small, quick show, but there's like a get together a day before and stuff like that. So it'll be. I'm pretty excited. I'm like, this is like the one show. I'm not excited to go to shows anymore. I mean, I am, but this one's like.
This is special.
Yeah, I've never been out that way, and it's different. So I think it's gonna be really cool, and it's supposed to be way bigger. A lot of makers, so more than I expected. But
yeah, any chance to go to Paradise, man? Might as well.
Yeah,
it's pretty. Yeah, it's always a decent turnout. Every year I check it out. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely gonna do it this year. And I look at flights, and I'm like, I'm definitely not doing it this year.
I mean, they're not that bad. I mean, I'm out of Chicago, so it's only, I think, like $700, $650.
Nah, in New York, it's always over $1,000 to fly to Hawaii. Usually the layover in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, my layover is in San Francisco, I believe, and on the way back, I actually have like a 10-hour layover, so I'm gonna be like chilling in San Francisco for 10 hours. So if anyone wants to hang out with me,
like shout out, like come get me at the airport, like let's chill.
Let me see San Francisco for a little bit, but
we did that after the California Knife show. We drove up to the Blade West, stopped in San Francisco.
Yeah, I've never been to Cali my whole life either. So
oh shit.
Yeah, Vegas is the farthest I've gone. But
you in Vegas this year?
I will not be in Vegas this year.
Whoa,
that sucks.
I might go, but no table. Yeah, because Hawaii show, and then I'm gonna do Cali, and I was like, I'm gonna take Blade show off and Vegas off, and then do Hawaii, Cali, and then Kentucky. Catch up. I'm always behind on orders, I'm pretty slow these days, but I want to catch up on a lot of things, and shows take up a lot of time.
Yeah,
so. And then I start stressing out, and you got a month ahead of time before a show, and then you get your show sick or whatever they call it, the after show bug, and you get sick afterwards, and that kind of thing. So it'll save me.
Usually like a huge amount of catch up, like physically and emotionally after a show. Like there's just so much going on.
Yeah, it just wears you down, and then you're like trying to get back into the groove. So you lose a good 3 months. Between the two shows, you got a whole month of working before, and then at least a week or two after the show to really get back going. So
in my case, it's I lose about 3 months of my life. I'm talking lifespan because I just don't sleep for about a month prior to the show.
Yeah,
that's how I get my stuff done for the show.
Me too. That's a whole month. They said whole month to get orders done, and per show. So. You got 2 months and then a couple weeks after, so you got about 3 months, just those two shows. But
that's interesting. Taking off Blade show and then just doing the smaller shows might be.
No, he's still going to Blade show. He's just not having a table there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, but that's basically taking it off. Like then, you don't have to stress about it and stuff. Like I don't know. That's I've never been in that position, but it kind of makes sense. Just do those small shows that are more fun.
For sure, and I haven't had a actual Blade show that I've actually attended without having a table since like 2014, I believe, or 13, something like that. So everything since 2013 on, I've had a table. So,
damn,
I'm excited to actually see the show.
Right? Yeah, not
California will be a good one for you as well. Yeah. I did it last year. I'm not doing it this year just because how the lineup came between California, Blade West, and USN in Paris. They kind of moved the dates around. I can't do all the shows again like I did last year.
Yeah, and I wanted to hit up some different shows this year. So,
there you go.
See if they do that. What is that? Custom Knife Invitational, or was it in Portland or something like that? Or handmade?
Northwest.
Oh, they're not doing that one this year. That was in July.
They're not doing the handmade one or whatever.
Handmade.
Yeah, no.
Jade says he's going to take it off this year. I think that show will work every other year, maybe, which is not maybe a bad idea for some of these shows because there are so many of them.
Yeah, they're starting to get a lot. I'm trying to work with Matt Patton from Slice. We want to get a show going in Louisiana around this time next year. I think it would be cool, and at like Mardi Gras, and where is that?
Is that in New Orleans?
Yeah, New Orleans. We want to try to get one going there. He wanted to do one for the past 2 years, but he wasn't sure how it would work out. But I finally was like, hey, let's get this rolling. Go find a spot, and I'm sure
I'll go to that one, but problem is I'm just gonna get drunk at Mardi Gras and not really do show things.
I mean that's
every
fine.
Show.
that's most shows, but
right.
Don't judge me.
Hey man,
I have to work till 6. After that, it's fair game.
I'm a professional and I take this job seriously. Okay,
exactly. I'm professional.
I love going to shows. I love seeing everyone and just hanging out, and but they wear you out like no other.
Yeah.
It's like you were like slaving over whatever for weeks, which you are, and then you get there and you're just dead, but still it's a definitely a fun time. I love seeing everyone, and so hey, more shows and more time I get to hang out with everyone that I, enjoy to hang out with. So
yeah, there you go.
But yeah.
That's a pretty good segue. We were talking about some of your earlier shows. So how did we get here? Let's dive back a little bit into the past. How'd you get into this craziness?
So like growing up, I wasn't really into knives at all. I would say when I was younger, I was just always like into outdoor stuff. I didn't grow up hunting or anything like that. It was all like dirt bikes for me growing up. I raced when I was younger, and my brother still rides a lot, but I quit after my dad actually passed away. 2005, I kind of quit riding because we were always with him. it was me and my dad. Like, he was like my best friend. So, but we would, he always had these old, out the front switchblades from when he was in the Army or in the Marines. And I would always sneak in his room and play with them.
There you go. And
they were like, they're obviously springs, and that was 2000. Probably, I was probably 8 or 9 when I really started messing with them. And I remember they would always break. I wouldn't say break. Well, you try to put them back in, and they would get stuck. Like if you, like the safety on like a Microtech, if you
it bounces off the track a little bit.
Yeah, and it, like, the blade moves up and down, and I would always freak out and throw it back in his bag, and like, I didn't mess with it.
Nothing happened.
And that was
I didn't touch it.
Yeah, that was like my real first experience with like knives, and I would always mess with them. He had an OD green one and a black one, and just one day he's like, "Hey, if you want one, you could have one." And I don't even remember how old I was, but that was kind of like, I wasn't obsessed with it, but I always, I had it in my room, and I always played with it. It's just up and down, breaking in the spring, I guess you could say. And he always had like random small knives, cheaper stuff, flea market stuff. And I remember finding an old cheap butterfly knife. I mean, I still have it, actually. It's just steel, crappy steel on it, and like the handles are steel, super heavy. It had like a knurling all over the handle, so like grip in the handle, so you really couldn't flip it. I mean, it was right. Like, it's they think about it now, like, this is a bad design. But I always would take that, and he would never know, and I would just go out in the woods with the friends and like, chop stuff with it. It's pretty funny using a butterfly knife. But I still have it. It's actually in my room and my desk. But yeah, that's like the first real knowledge of me messing with knives. But I wasn't like into them. Till one day there was I don't remember what years or anything like that. I was probably like 12, 13. There was a gun and knife show in my town. And we went, and there was a table full of knives, and I was like, whoa, these are awesome. Like old Taiwan, autos, like push button autos, like spring assisted kind of, I guess you could say. And old wood handles falling off, but I just thought they were so cool. Like, well, I didn't know when I went to the bathroom, my dad bought the one that I kept playing with.
Oh, nice.
And that night he gave it to me, and I can't find that one, which is funny, because that, like, I cherished that one. I still do. If I could find it, I couldn't find. I was looking for it today, but he gave it to me, and I was like in awe that he like bought me something sharp and a knife. But I still remember that day. Like, I didn't care about the guns. Like, could care less. I was always into like his Marine stuff and all his Army stuff, but the guns, it was always those knives. Like that table, I couldn't leave the table, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." But he finally, I guess, yeah, he went, and when I went to the bathroom, he bought me that knife plus his. He bought a little like auto. I mean, they're cheap, blade play up and down, left, right. If you smack the back of it, it would open. Kind of. So. But that was like what really got me into them. Like, I always had that on me, and I would had to been like probably 13, 14 at the oldest. And then that's really, I wouldn't say how it started. I guess it would say how it started. I didn't really collect anything until I would say 2007. My dad passed away 2005, so I raced dirt bikes when I was like 8 years old all the way till 2007, 2007. Went to, on a trip to Colorado with my brother and some friends. We went hiking, and we stopped at a Walmart, and I'm like, man, I need a knife. And it was a Gerber Paragon. Might be wrong on that.
Or it's something like that.
No,
cutouts in the handle.
Yeah.
Paratrooper, I think it was.
Like that fixed blade one?
No, it was a folder.
It's that like Gerber like #1 seller with the 3 cutouts in the blade.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's para something.
Okay. All right.
It's I mean, I look it up, but I don't want to be typing. Forgot what it was called, but yeah. So I bought that, and
holy Gerber.
Yeah, it was Gerber something, whatever. Para something, or I'm thinking about paramilitary, but yeah, the holes in the blade or in the handle, they went all the way through on both sides, and paraform.
Okay.
That sound right? Maybe. Well, anyways, but so I got that, and we were hiking. We went to all around like Colorado. We hiked to Capitol Peak, which is, from trailhead to base of the mountains, about 4-hour hike. And on the way there, I was whittling with this Gerber knife the whole time, like literally like trying to make a wooden knife. Why? I have no idea. I was just whittling. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make a knife with my knife, because I was bored. We're sitting there at camp, and fishing was horrible. Couldn't catch anything. We were going to go, and everyone was like making spears, and we're like playing mountain games. It was, we were dumb, whatever. It was wasting time. And I carved this military style, round handled, Bowie knife, which I still have too, which I think is, I look at it and it's pretty funny that I even carved this thing. It looks like a banana, because like over the years it started, warping because it was drying out. But yeah, so that like pretty much started me of really liking knives. And after that, I just started buying all these cheap knives from Walmart, just, going to the flea market. There's a flea market like 20 minutes from here that I'd go, and like became really good friends with the guy, and just buying the cheapest stuff possible. But I mean, I loved it. I mean, it wasn't, there were like knockoffs of everything. Just looking back, like a bunch of top knives, knockoff top knives, CRKTs, that kind of thing. Then I got into guns. After that, really started getting, I would say, like shooting a lot and Glocks in here and there, and kind of fell away from the knives. Well, then for some reason, like I believe I found blade forums, something like that. I found some kind of blade forums I was looking through, and I seen some things. I was like, oh wow, like there's actually a community for this. It's kind of funny, like how most makers are like, wow, like there's a lot of knives. These are cool, So like it was newer into the internet, and it was a 2008 probably, 7, 8. I mean, it's there, but that's when kids actually went out and did stuff, and I was working, and that kind of thing, and didn't have the smartphone, and
it was before the end of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I did have smartphones back then, but I mean, it was pretty much the start of like the start of the end of like everyone nowadays. But I don't know where I was getting at. So yeah, found blade forms.
Yeah.
And then I was looking through, and I seen like people customizing like fixed blades or like just folders. I was like, oh man, I didn't know you could do that. I can never like put anything down. Like I can never leave it alone. I'm always messing with stuff. My truck would always customize it. My dirt bike helmets, I always wanted to paint them. My BMX bikes, I was always doing something. Like I could never leave anything stock or the same. And I to this day, like I'm always like I just got into watches.
Oh boy!
Like all of a sudden, now I'm like
getting at the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
I like just got this watch, and now I like want to buy all these watches and mod them.
You thought shit was expensive before. Yeah.
I'm like, oh geez, I'm gonna spend $200 on a Seiko and then put $300 into it just to make it. I'm like, oh gee, so I like drop everything, but I can never leave anything alone. So then I'm like looking through YouTube, and I'm seeing these guys like, for instance, Jeff.
Tough Thumbs.
Tough Thumbs. Mr. Tough Thumbs. I found one of his first videos of him in his garage with a Dremel and just hacking away at some G10. And I'm like, oh, you're telling me I could customize these knives. So that's pretty much how all this started. Like, this is the beginning of the end, I guess you could say. So growing up, wasn't really into them here and there, but then once I found YouTube and found I would have to blame Jeff on my obsession on all this. So hopefully
it's all his fault.
Pretty much. I mean, he started a YouTube video, or he had a YouTube channel, and just kind of watched him from there. And I started, doing reviews. I would go to the gun show or, the local gun shows and knife shows that we have and pick up, they were mostly the cheaper, like the Spyderco Tenacious and, when those were coming out, and, the Kershaws, the cheaper Kershaw Skylines, and, that kind of thing, like sub $40, $50.
Yeah. That's
what I could afford. Range. Yeah. Which I thought that was a lot of money. Right. But then I'm doing reviews.
Skyline was the knife of that era.
Yeah, that and I still have like 3 of these Kershaw Kiss. It has the dick veins all over it. So I'm like, those are like my favorite back then. Like I still carry one every once in a while, but then I. Doing reviews and whatnot, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to customize one of these knives.
Nice.
And just went at it. Ruined the whole thing. Had to throw it away. Good thing it was only like a $20 knife, and whatnot. So then, you can't always get it. Back then it was, YouTube was just starting. So none of this, information was really even out there. So I was like, going through, the forums and, asking questions. And when I started, a lot of guys weren't really wanting to help. Which, thinking about it now, like, was I asking in the right, places, this and that? But they would just be like, oh, you could find it. Just, Google this or Ask Jeeves that or whatever it was back then.
Say Ask Jeeves?
Ask Jeeves.
Jeeves how to make about a knife. Hey Jeeves, how to make a knife.
Oh, you're too young.
I think you said Ask Jeeves. I was like, the hell?
No.
Ask.com or something like that. How old are you, Nick? Like 20?
It was 24.
Yeah. So we're like 10 years older than you, bud.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was like, there was no Google back then, or whatever. But there probably was, but I don't know. Just can't remember that far back. So just started, dabbling around with, customizing, and then I started a YouTube video or a YouTube channel. It was the Thor 153. So I just started doing like reviews and customizing stuff here and there. Then I discover Gavco. He starts making knives with this cheap $40 grinder from Harbor Freight
in his closet in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I could make a knife out of spending little money. Let me try. So I went to the hardware store. I bought some cheap mild steel. Went to Harbor Freight, grabbed a grinder, and just out in my shed, just started going at it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was burning my fingers and left and right, and I was getting mad. I was like, it was so easy for him to do it. Why can't I do it? And I'm using a hand drill, drilling holes. I still have that first knife too, by the way. But yeah, my mom comes out. What are you doing out here? I'm like, I'm making a knife. She's like, oh, good luck, And she walks back inside, shaking her head like, this kid can never leave anything alone. Or, I was always messing with stuff, always building things. Just growing up, like I was always into blocks, and we heard of connects.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the little connects, like whatever. Man, I was building towers and so much stuff.
I love those things.
Man, so like I was always messing around with stuff, like I said. But then after that, I kind of went into back to customizing. I'm like, screw this. But the little grinder helped me customize knives better. So then I started doing regrinds on, random knives, and I've messed up a bunch of knives. I owed a lot of people money. Let's say that. Then like it just kind of history from there, and just went on and got better and better and better at customizing. Then got into friction folders. Started making friction folders, I would say around 2011, 2012 ish.
Now, I remember those friction folders. Is this before or after Curtis?
Oh, this is way before.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you made some friction folders when you were with Curtis. That's why.
I don't think I did.
Oh, okay. I just remember some friction folders from you. It's a while ago.
It's definitely possible. But I'm getting into that. So, yeah. So I'd say like 2011. I was starting to get into friction folders, and I actually had a lot of orders for them. Like, they were nothing crazy. It was just some G10 slabs with, a blade and, some washers. I mean, did some videos on that, how to make them, and I was getting, I wouldn't say popular, but, everyone was like, hey, how do you make them? So took the route of Jeff and, and Mike, and started just making them and showing how I made them, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like my segue into folders. I only made probably 3 or 4 fixed blades before I made an actual knife, like a friction folder. So started doing them. I probably made, I would say, 15 to 20 friction folders, and said, I'm going to try to do a folding knife, like a locking knife. And I don't know. I think it might have been Mike or Jeff or one of them guys, like showing. I think might have been Jeff going into, which is now John Gray's house, Anonymous, which they used to call him back in the day. He started making folders with him. So I'm like, I'm going to try this. So I made my first try. I made a locking knife. It was titanium blade. I wasn't really into, I didn't want to send off a bunch of blades and whatnot. So my first folding knife, locking liner lock, was it was a Warrenclyffe type blade, and it was titanium blade, titanium lock, whatever. And it worked. And I carried that for a while, and surprisingly still have that. It's in pieces now, but
carbonized edge.
No, just there's no carbonizing back then yet, at least. I just heated it up, and just trying to see if I can make it. And
science the fuck out of it, pretty much.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but I kind of blame Jeff and Mike for everything. Then, just started really, and I think Instagram started coming around like 2012, 2013, I believe. And that kind of helped and whatnot, which is weird. You meet a lot more makers that way. A lot of makers around, the forums, and then going into, Instagram. Browse blades
of it. The social media, like it was crazy.
Yeah, the social media thing, not necessarily like Facebook or whatnot, but it was Facebook. I think is bigger than Instagram now for the makers. But yeah, it was like I looked back and it was my first post was 2000. I believe it's 2012, like the end of October 2012. I posted a little tool that I made that I got from Jeff. It's like a tough tool, whatever. And then the next one was I started posting my mods, and I was doing Warrenclyffe mods on Benchmade or not Benchmade, ZT 560s, I believe. Does that sound right? No.
Yes, I actually remember those. Yes, it was the Hinderer one, and you chopped it.
Yes. Yeah, I made them into like the Hinderer warnies that are now. And man, I messed up so many of them. I almost went broke. I almost quit. Like, I mean,
almost went bankrupt before you started.
More than a couple, right? Yeah, damn.
But yeah, I messed up a couple of the what are those composite blade ones too? Like,
oh god,
yeah, they're. I mean, that was back in the day. I was just starting, but then like my first blade show was 2013, and that was really when I started just talking to everyone and meeting people, and getting to like know everyone's face, and I met Chad from Alpha Hunter Tactical. And we started talking, and just one day he's like, hey, do you want to do a collab? I'm like a fixed blade? Like, because I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to folders yet. Because I only made, I think, 3 locking folding knives by 2013. And he goes, well, let's just mess around and see what we could do. I have like a guy that could cut parts for you. I'm like, oh, cut part? Like, what are you talking about? So,
he's talking about Willis. Water jet machine?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Like, cut? What do you mean cut parts? Like, yeah, he'll cut parts with a water jet. I'm like, what's that?
Is that?
Mind blown. Water cuts.
Yeah. And I'm pretty knowledgeable with, knives nowadays, like at that time. But I was like, okay, like, is it like a CNC? Like he cuts parts and we put them together? And he goes, no, it's like rough cut and you kind of make them from there. And I'm like, oh, geez.
Oh, boy.
Well, then he like mentioned a guy's name, David Curtis. So I'm like looking him up, and I was like, oh, he makes some cool knives. He's like, yeah, he's a buddy of mine. He like has a water jet, like, Great Lakes Water Jet Company. He does a lot of like cutting for a bunch of makers. And I'm like, oh. So I look it up, Great Lakes. He must be close. Well, he's only like 2 hours from me. So one day I was like talking to him, like, I believe I just called him, said, hey, I really like your knives. I'm going to be designing a knife, and I guess we're sending you materials and you're going to cut some parts. I was like, can I come by and, check the shop out? And he goes, oh yeah, like no problem. Yeah, just come by. So I'm like driving, going there. It's like 2 hours. Not bad. I go out to Michigan all the time. He's like directly east of me. And, my buddy's cabin is only probably like 30 minutes from there. I'm like, oh, I go out there like twice a month during the summer or whatever. I'm thinking like I'm gonna go up to this shop, like a big old
legit ass shop.
Yeah, like a building, like a place. And I pull into this subdivision, and I'm like, where am I going? Like, can I go the right way? So I pull up to this guy's house, and he's sitting there and working on a knife in his garage. Yeah, alone, I'm like making these shitty knives in the back of my mom's like house in the back room that flooded, had no carpet or whatever. It was like a room that we didn't even use. And I'm like thinking that this guy makes these knives and has a water jet, whatever that is, and he's working out of his garage. It's like, no way. There must be a shop in the back, you know? I'm like, this Google Maps is wrong. You know, there's no shop in the back, you know? And he comes out, we start talking. I was like, this is where you were. He goes, yeah, water jet's there. He had a water jet crammed in his, you know, it's like a 3-car garage. Like, so it's like a 2-car, and then it had like a split, then a little small single car, like kind of pushed to the side. It was like a weird kind of garage. Like there was a wall in between it.
So a water jet at a home shop, that's the weird one, because like I want a water jet in my shop and I don't have enough power.
It was a 24 by 48. You could cut that big of a piece, or like 48 by 48. It's a big water jet. I walk in there, I'm like, so you do these knives here? He goes, yeah, like I cut parts here. He had the water jet going, and he was grinding some blades, and I was like, wow, this like, so you're saying I can do this in a garage? Like, I was like blown away. And he's like, yeah, just come in and check what I do. And he goes, here, do this for me. I'm gonna show you how to do this. So he gives me a blade, and I'm cutting a lock. My first time ever messing with like a high-end knife. And it was the F3, so it was a 3.5 or 3-inch F3, little medium-sized one, and I'm gonna show you how to set the lock on this thing. And by that time, I knew what everything was, but I wasn't like, I don't even think I ever held a custom knife before then. It was in general, like I was, but I was always scared. Oh, I'm not gonna touch it, too expensive. It's like, here, I'm going to show you how to cut this lock. So we go over there, and he had 3 grinders lined up, and I'm like, oh, man, and I'm still messing with this 1x30, or I think I might have had a Grizzly knife maker grinder by then.
The one that moved 1,000 miles a second.
Oh, my God. I'm like, how am I going to mess with, like, titanium with this thing? So that didn't last long, but so we set the lock, and he's like, oh, that's how it works, and he had parts like already done, and we assembled it, and he goes, all right, well, I didn't make it, so that's yours. Wait, what? He gives me the knife that I set the lock. You're kidding me, right? Dude, man, I was floored. Like from then on, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, I got a custom knife, and I cherish it. I still have that knife. I cherish that thing to this day. Is it the best knife? It's beat up. But I set the lock. I think it was like 60% log up, whatever.
Nice.
When I did it. And he's like,
secure.
Yeah, well, it's yours now since I didn't touch it. I was ecstatic. So walking around, he's showing me some stuff, water jet, how it worked. And by that time I had parts like CAD files. He had CAD files done for me, and he showed me this knife. It was the Sinbad custom, the Elfounder tactical collab that I was doing. And it was designed from like the Cutlass sword of Sinbad. So that's why we called it that, like the pirate or whatever.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. He had the design idea, and I just kind of took some pictures of a Cutlass sword and kind of made it into a weird folder. It's a different design, I'll tell you that. Cool. I don't know if you ever seen that. You ever see the Sinbad that I did?
I haven't, no, but no? I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I only did like 20 of them. Flippers, non-flipper, and then I did like a mini. I think I only did like 5. That was like 2013, I believe. So it's been a while. 2013, 2014. So he's like showing me CAD files and whatnot, and he's like, "Here, I got your parts cut." I'm like, "What? I've been here for over an hour, and you're just telling me I got the parts cut?" Like, I was so excited that I had like these knife parts. So he gives me this box, and I'm like, now what do I do? No idea. Like, for real, like my first folding knives were from a cheap Harbor Freight drill press, a 1x30, and a Dremel. I cut the Dremel, the lock reliefs with the drill press and a Dremel wheel and a Dremel sander. I did the lock cutout or the relief for it. It is crude. I'm like, how am I gonna do these? Like, I had no idea. But I was like, hey, if you ever need help here, I'm only 2 hours away. Just let me know. I'm glad to come down and help you in the shop for, get some experience. Show me how to make one of these, because I have no idea what I'm doing. He goes, hey, yeah, on the weekends, if you want to come down, if I have time, just come over and we could, you could work for me or whatever, apprentice, I guess you could say. Which I thought was really cool. I'm like, all right, I'll yeah. Well, we didn't know each other. All he knew is I knew Chad, and I customized knives, and I showed him like my first folding knife that was just horrible. He goes, oh yeah, this is good, which was not.
That's like when you make a first folder and you bring it to like Blade Show. You show everyone like, oh, what do you think about it? Oh, it's great. I'm like, look, I know it's a piece of crap. Like, I really need to know what I need to do here. No, it's great. I'm like, you're not helping me here.
Yeah, I thought it was good for what, like, looking back, it's like, oh man, like, I criticize people now that have done 10 times better than that one. But so I get back home and I'm like just ecstatic, like pumped, get in the shop, start working, making whatever. And I would say like 5 months later, I lost my job. And I think I went to his house like twice after that. And he helped me with the folder, like the Sinbad, the prototype, to get things like, here's how you do this, and this, you're going to need this, and, your bearing pockets and whatnot. And he kind of helped me get that together. And like 6 months later, I lost my job. I worked for like 10 years.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a small company. We had it was nothing. It was just kind of like it was a job, it was nothing. I wasn't going anywhere with it. But we sold store fixtures, like everything in a department store that other than the product. So, clothes hangers, displays, mannequins, hangers, all that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I've been shopping for that stuff before.
Yeah, I used to sell it, I guess you could say. I worked in the warehouse. There was only 4 of us there. It was a small little warehouse. We pretty much did everything. But so we got laid off because we weren't doing too well. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I found another little side job before that. And I was like, I'm just going to start making these knives. Hopefully that'll help. Well, I call up Dave Curtis. I said, hey, I lost my job. Do you need anyone to work for you? Without hesitation. Yep. Come down. You could come down every day and you could work. And I'm like, man, it's a 2-hour drive there and back. So I was literally driving 200 miles in a day to work on knives. What else am I going to do? I either do that or start working for a company again. But at this time, I was loving knives. Like, that was my life. That's all I thought about. That's all I did. I did videos, I was like, all right, well, let's go. So that was like October. Yeah, I have notes, so that's good. October 2013 was the first day I worked for David. So I went there, and I still, get there, and I'm, nervous. Don't know what to do. I'm going to mess everything up. And
first day on the job.
Oh, he's like, all right, well, I showed you how to set a lock that one day, huh? I said, that was like 6 months ago. He goes, well,
just do it.
You're setting locks for all these. I'm like, oh man, like, by that time he had parts, and it was, he had some parts done outsourced, and it was, kind of assembly. Like, I was the assembly guy, getting together, set the locks, sharpen them, make sure they run right, customizing them. He didn't customize anything until I got there. And that's kind of where he was stuck in his way. Like, it was plain titanium stonewash blade, and like a blue backspacer or a blue whatever. That's all he did. And I'm like, hey, I used to customize a lot of knives, and I'm good with like patterns and handles and anodizing and whatnot. And he goes, here, I got all these handles that don't look good. I was just gonna throw them in a drawer. So I'm gonna carve these things up, from my pimping days, carving up handles and putting Anso patterns and stuff and drilling holes and speed holes and whatnot, and just started customizing all these knives. And I want to say I changed the way he looked at a plain knife. He was stuck. I mean, he's older. He's been doing it probably 8-9 years before I even started making knives. Traditional, like just plain workhorse knife. So I started anodizing and all this stuff, and everyone's coming out of the wood like, what is this? Like, holy cow. Like, I never seen Timascus or anything before this. And he's like, oh, I got this cool pattern stuff, Timascus and whatnot. And we started messing with that. And it kind of put him on a path to design more stuff and do other things. And me too. I mean, it really helped me figure out like what I liked in a knife and how to make things work. It was I could say I was more of a, he pretty much just said do it and figure it out, which really helped what I do now. Like I'm gonna say all these makers now, I'm not saying it's like they're lucky that there's Instagram and it's easier to find out information and YouTube and whatnot. It is. There's some makers now that within a year they're damn near better than, I'm like impressed with some of these guys that are just been making, it's like just started. I'm like, it took me 5 years to get to where you're at, I'm not complaining, but it was good. I think it was good for me to learn. Dave pretty much said, just do it, figure it out. If it's messed up, do this, do that. Why is the lock sticky? Why is it not smooth? What's going on here? And it really helped me be able to troubleshoot, the things that I'm still a little crude with how I make knives. I wouldn't say crude, but I'm not like Nick, like by the, CNC and all that thing. I mean, a lot of, I'm not saying it's like easy.
Yeah, just start with that.
Just push the button.
No.
Push just the button.
Obviously, it's not. I can't do it.
6 years no CNC, and then last 4 had been CNC.
I'm saying,
a whole different ball game.
Yeah, like now, there's a lot of guys that are, I won't say more precise. Hard to really put into words. Like I still do things the same way. I kind of still do things the same way I did when I first started, in a way. Only other thing, I was doing pockets for my folders on a Harbor Freight drill press, and it worked.
I mean, that's pretty much what counts.
Yeah, it worked. So, but I'm not I have a cheap Grizzly, which a lot of makers do still. I'm a messy guy in the shop. Nothing's perfect. My process is still, I'm saying, jumbled up everywhere, but I get it done and it works, I was
trying to say that he just throws shit together and it works, and then people
pretty much
buy it.
Yeah, you want to buy it?
The bills get paid.
I wish it was
the knife sells.
I mean, I do take, my processes are a little different. I take a lot more time with the stuff I do now. Fit and finish is big with me nowadays. It's hard to explain how I started. It's my process hasn't changed. Some tooling has changed, but how I do things. And I mean, it works, and I think I make a decent knife, and everyone thinks they and make a good knife and whatnot. Is it the right way? Probably not, but if that makes sense. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
well, the thing is, it's important to know that everybody does it different, and for whatever reason they do it different is important, because that means that there's different product coming from all over the place. If everybody did it the same damn way, everything would be so goddamn boring. So I mean, like, it's good that it's different, you know?
No, for sure. But working with Dave, I finally, I learned a lot from him. Then it was 2015-ish. I think it was I think it did about 10 months with him. A lot. It helped a lot with, figuring out how to really make a knife. And, and then after Blade Show, I think it was 2015, I finally, I made probably 10 knives by then. And I was coming out with a new little knife. So I wasn't really doing my own thing. I was still working for Dave. And I just said, hey, I kind of just want to go on my own and do this thing. And he goes, well, you know how to make a knife. Go at it, So I was like, well, if you still need help every once in a while, if it doesn't work out, and, it was definitely a struggle there for a little bit. But I got a bunch of parts cut. I made it, my Brute model was really small, 2.5 inch, folder. And I was still stuck in my pimping, ways of carving stuff up and, crude grinds and whatnot. And I mean, they kind of took off. I did, I think 60 or 70 of them, something like that. But pretty much what started me into what I do now. So I'm not really, I still do everything pretty much the same. I don't know how to really explain it. Things they've obviously evolved, but my style is still the same. My models, I don't make the Brute anymore, but the Brutus is a model of it, and it's kind of the fit and finishes are better, but it's still I still feel like I'm still in that era, if that makes sense. I haven't evolved from what I'm doing from 2015 till now. I'm probably wording that wrong. That makes sense, but
no, yeah, I mean, it's I kind of see what you're trying to say.
Yeah, sounding like I'm still making crappy knives, but it's really I still pretty much do everything the same as I did before. Just fit and finish, and I take longer, and I work on making things a stronger, better knife, I guess you could say.
Over time you learn what to focus on and what things are more important. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Once your mechanics are there, then that's what you're saying. Then you're okay, and then my next step is I got to focus on the fit and finish. So it might be the same model, it's just gotten better. It's the evolution of a maker.
Yeah, yeah.
Today it's a knife. There's a lock, there's a detent, there's some holes. After that, just the shape. You got your mechanisms down good and packed years ago. There's no reason to change that, but your fit and finish and time got better.
Yeah, I would say I've learned better ways of doing things, I guess you could say.
I just hit things with a hammer till it works. And if it doesn't, it goes in the trash.
There's sometimes I throw things against the wall and they work better than they did, but hope no one's listening to this. But
that's okay.
Those dings, those are massage marks.
Those are massage marks.
And so when one's binding a little bit, just those dings are just to get it to go smooth.
Yeah, but I mean, I love designing. Going back to working with Dave, he taught me a little bit. In high school, I was good with CAD, and my dad was a CAD engineer. So I always messed around with CAD, and I still do to this day. I love designing. I'm always messing around on the computer. I have probably 40 designs that I don't even show people on the computer alone, just there, ready to go if I needed it. That they're all somewhat the same, style that I do. But there's some that are really out there, futuristic, kind of like Elijah does. now
with all like holes in the blades and stuff?
Not necessarily. Yeah, kind of.
He invented the holes. He'll come at you for that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like a futuristic. I have a bunch of futuristic stuff. I don't think I've ever showed anyone.
Oh, man. Top secret stuff?
I wouldn't say that. I just never put it publicly out there. Like, hey, how do you think of it? What do you think of this?
Yeah.
You know, going back, like me and Elijah have done a collab a couple years ago, 5 years ago, probably 4 years ago.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's like when you really first started really designing.
I think I remember that knife. I don't know. I'm going to try to find that on Google, though. I think I remember that knife. There was one that we were going to do that it never happened. I don't know why. It just never happened. It was when Dietz was around. You remember him? Alex Dietz? Oh, that guy was
actually talked about that.
I'd rather forget about that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it was before, I think it was around that time when he was doing his. I was going to do one. It never happened. And then we eventually came back to one, and I said, hey, I'm going to do this Theta. I really like the Theta. So I think it was, I would say 4 years ago. 4, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, something like that. We did a collab, and you know, it was fun. We ended up doing only one. I did a prototype, and he was doing one with Kaiser. So I was like, I kind of don't want to make this because Kaiser's doing it. And it was kind of, I felt weird about it. But yeah, I've known Elijah since.
Eventually, you get a design with Kaiser.
Beginning of like the Instagram days, I guess you could say. He started designing.
If you're wondering where Elijah's at, he's not here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, where's Elijah? But
he's great at this. Don't worry, he'll be here next week.
But yeah,
last week.
I would say my foundation, again, going back, foundation really started with Dave. And we still talk every once in a while, but it's very random. After I left, he actually got a CNC, and he started doing more in-house stuff.
And he got the Tormach.
Yeah, I helped him pretty much set that thing up, and that was like after Blade Show when I helped him 2015 or something like that. And then he just kind of, I was like, well, why do I even have to be here if you're going to be doing everything on a CNC? But I think that was the plan. Once I left, he was going to, do more.
Only CNC. That's how it worked.
Yeah, right.
I'd like another CNC. That just means another employee.
Yeah, just pick up another one. Grab it. Amazon Prime that shit.
But like stuff I do now, like I don't see myself ever getting a CNC any time in the future. Not saying they're bad or anything like that. It just how I like.
You got a pantograph, right? Recently?
I do. I've had one for a couple of years, but I've only recently started using it. It like hurts my head thinking about what I have to do, like to make it, or to use it. I got to make templates and everything's by hand.
A lot of it's using like epoxy, right?
Yeah, like G10 epoxy. What is that stuff? There's like
putty.
It's like a hard epoxy plastic stuff that gets super. Forgot what it was called. But yeah, you got to make templates by hand, and then. Like, it just hurts my head how it works. Like, I don't think I could ever do CNC stuff. Like, thinking, or that might actually help with the pantograph stuff, making templates, but it's like, I'm confused. I'm used to doing the regular straight bolsters and non-inlay stuff. And, it's...
You did inlay recently was it Kentucky or just before Kentucky?
I did. That was for Vegas. That was the first time I used it, and I think it came out. I was impressed.
No, it came out sweet. That's why I remember. That's why I thought you recently got it, because that was the first time I actually seen it.
So I had I just work out of my garage, so I only have a 220, and it has it had a 3-phase motor, and I didn't know what I was doing when I got it, and I just said, screw it. I'm just going to buy a new motor and put a VFD on it. And ended up converting it over to regular, like 2 horsepower with a, with a speed control.
Yeah, just installed new ones.
Mocking it up. And eventually, I seen your thing, your Chinese one. But,
I get a good one. I'm like, look, man, it's just circuits. China makes all the circuits.
Sure.
My other VFD was expensive. That shit blew too.
I'm getting that coronavirus.
Boy.
Earshot. But just like
coming over tomorrow. Don't worry, he'll survive.
Like saying with like CNC, I'm not saying they're like bad. And I was like, I wish I could do it, but different. I don't know if I could move into that. Like, I don't think I have, like, I'm kind of
sizable leap.
I'm stuck into like what Dave's, like I was saying with Dave, like I'm stuck in my ways. I don't know if I could, like, even doing like, I know I should evolve, which a lot of people are, but I don't know.
It just depends what you want for yourself. I came to the point where I'm like, I live in New York, bills are really high. I never was comfortable with the handmade aspect being a career because I went full time 5 years ago. I was like 18 or so. And I was like, I don't see myself being able to do this 40 years by hand. I'm 18. I feel like I'm already broken, and I don't see me being able to do this for 40 years. Anytime you're sick, you have no money coming in because if you're not working, the money's not coming in. I never really liked that. It never made me comfortable. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? Like, if I'm serious about this being full time, I have to figure out this CNC thing. Also, it just felt like job security because if knives don't work out, I have a skill that I've learned.
No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if I always thought of, if I got one, what would I do? And then went back and forth with Nick Swan a couple times, like, hey, I think I'm going to get one. He goes, I'll show you everything. It's easy. And I was like, nah, I can't get one. I just can't go that route. Like,
well, that was Rob, dude. Rob got one. His machine's older than me.
Yeah.
His machine's an 86. And I was like, that thing works.
Hey, maybe I'm just going slow at it. I'll do the pentagraph, then get tired of that and say, screw it,
Yeah, slow evolution. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like anyone, you gotta really evolve yourself.
It's not for everyone. It's not everyone's what people want to do. But like, if you ever work to look into it, you don't have to go full Haas or Tormach like I have. Like I said, Rob, for example, he knew nothing. I taught him mostly all that 3D stuff and the camp stuff in my free time. Then he kind of figured it out himself after. He bought that machine, kind of just busting his balls when he first got it, because I was like, the thing's a dinosaur. But he paid like $4,000 with all the tooling for it. There's a local one by me that was like $2,600. I almost bought it. It would cost more money to bring it into my shop than actually the machine.
The old Herco?
Yeah, it's Herco, whatever it is. It's like 1986.
Thing weighs more than your house.
It weighs more than my house. The thing is, like...
Yeah, those things are beasts.
So I was like, I'm going to have to get the XL forklift for that. I was like, I didn't want to bother with it. But he uses it. He does inlays with it. He uses that. Even for that price, it would be like an in-house water jet almost. But it did holes and it was better. So that's what I wanted to buy it for. I was about to buy it because it was just close by. I was like, no, what? I could use this to just rough out my parts. But then I realized it's not worth it.
No, I hear you. But I don't know. I don't know where I was going with all that. I was kind of ranting about, things.
Matt, I wanted to ask you if you want to talk about it. I wanted to ask you about your collaborations a little bit.
Okay.
So you've got, or you had, or still do have collaborations with Alliance Designs and with Custom Knife Factory
and
Kaiser. So we're sort of in that, we're in that transformative, era of the knife industry. How do you feel that that's working for or against you with your customs? You loving it? You're going to say you're loving it, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, the money's good. I mean, I tell everyone I'm making money without really doing much.
There you go.
If that makes sense, but
yeah, passive income is totally reasonable.
I haven't noticed any like downfall from like actually using my custom designs into getting into this. I was a little scared when I first went with Kaiser a couple of years ago with my critical. I was afraid it was going to take away from my customs. Like all makers are kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that. It might like drop the secondary pricing on stuff because people could get that over the custom. And I was like, well, this is where I'm thinking that people that can't afford mine or don't want to spend secondary on it or don't want to wait, they could get something similar. Like they're buying Spyderco's or Benchmade's. Why can't they buy a production model of their favorite custom, Yeah. So, I mean, I said, well, screw it. Let me try this and see how it works out. Well, as of now, it's working out great. Like I had, like you said, Alliance Designs is the most recent that's actually been out. And then before that was Custom Knife Factory, which Alliance and Custom Knife Factory are limited runs. And Kaiser is a like production. They just keep making them, until they decide, well, we're not going to make this model anymore. I think they could just keep making it until they want. After 2 years, I believe, a new contract. I'm not sure on that, but off the top of my head. But yeah, like Custom Knife Factory is only 400, I believe. Or 350. And then that was it for that design and model. Same with Alliance. Alliance was for the first like big run. It's only limited. I believe it was only 250 for the Bangarang.
Oh, that is pretty short. Okay.
Yeah. It depends on how, like right now with everything going on in China, it hasn't been, like the smoothest. I mean, with any company right now, obviously. Yeah. But I think for any designer, really, I think it's great to have like a lower cost knife compared to like, their higher end custom stuff. Now, you just got to get the right design, I guess. I was a little weary on doing the Bangarang with Alliance, but it actually has done really well. Like, it's not my favorite design, but they liked it, and it.
Oh, it's a sweet design.
I was surprised. It's like everyone likes it. So I'm like, oh, well, all right. Well, what I like isn't what everyone likes, I guess. But I have a couple other designs coming out with Custom Knife Factory. And I have a small critical coming out with Kaiser. And then I've been designing. It's funny that you brought this up. I've been designing a lot of designs for straight production stuff. They won't be made by me. Like no custom, maybe one to see like a prototype. And then the rest will just be made by someone else, like we or Best Tech or something like that, and kind of like a mid-tech / production kind of thing.
Okay. Now, is that a collaboration or is that just OEM?
Well, they would be obviously OEM. Like, I guess you could say, is Kaiser, Alliance, Custom Knife Factory, are those necessarily collabs? Would you even call them collabs?
Well, okay, yeah, I guess I just meant, I mean, you're working with them, not just having them make it.
I guess they're pretty much just making it, and then
so that would be more of a collaboration. OEM would be where you funded it and you sold them as Christensen Knifeworks production.
Yeah, no, they would. So I wanna do more like production stuff. Try to get hopefully this year. I want to get a bigger non-China company. Hopefully, someone like work. Yeah, I mean, even if it was like Boker or something like that, I would be happy to. I want like a lower end, cheaper sub $100, Benchmade, CRKT, ZT maybe. I mean, they're a little more, but Spyderco. I would love to have something like that done. Exposure obviously would help, but getting that cheaper knife into people's hands, I guess you could say, like the price point, lower price point, because all these ones that I'm doing now are $300, $400 still.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into that, 75, 100, 150 max price range. I have a lot of simpler, easier to make knives, I guess you could say, designs. Hopefully I'll get into that, or if that doesn't happen, do the OEM stuff, but that's still, more money than what like a lower price point, lower tier kind of knife would be. It'd be great to do something like a Kershaw, collab with them, production, because they're lower end, but they're really good knives, and get into more people's hands, not just like knife community.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah, so I mean, like,
that's that kid you were, man. Like the kid at Walmart or whatever. Like, I just need a knife. Like, I
bought that Gerber. Oh, that looks cool. I want to do that exactly. Like, I would love to have.
That was a goal of mine at one point.
My friends go to Cabela's or Bass Pro and be like, "Oh, my buddy made that. I'm gonna buy it." Because
I had that exact goal at one point. I was like, "Oh, get in a big box store." So I'm gbe like, "Yeah." We'll have to go up to the guy and be like, "Oh, that's a cool knife." He's like, "I want to see what he says about the design." I'm like, "Oh, I designed that."
Yeah. Well, that thing looks stupid. But I mean, whatever. But like my friends, I have a lot of friends that aren't into knives and they want a knife from me, but they just can't afford it. Yeah. I'm like, I'll give you a discount, but I can't like give it to you free. They're like, "Oh, give it to me $100." I'm like, nah.
Like, you don't even. So, like, that's not even it.
I mean, yeah, it's like. I mean, I'll give them one. Like, I have a couple that I give away, like the Kaisers, like my cost. I just, what's $100? I just give it to them. But I'd be like, hey, you could go to the store and buy, a $50 design. Like Carter has a couple from CRKT, I believe, or Ontario. Yeah. They're like in Walmart. Oh, yeah. You go there right now and go grab one, or Ruger. Yeah, so I mean that's like awesome to me. Like, that would be really cool. Not necessarily like because I'm in a big box store. It's just more of getting that, like, two people that want something from me that really can't afford it, or like a kid, or if that makes sense.
No, it does.
It's really humble of you. I just want to say I'm in the big box store.
I mean, of course it's cool. Of course you want that. You want that fame, like, some of these bigger makers and, OGs, I guess you could say. Like, they've been around for how long? And, like, let's say Lee Williams. I had a Kershaw Lee Williams something before I even knew who Lee Williams was. I had no idea who he was. I had, I believe it was like an OD1 or OD2 or something weird like that. He had like a weird little flipper on top that, like he does now, and
kickstop or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a weird kickstop, like a thumb or like a standoff kind of thing. And I thought that was like the coolest thing. I didn't know who he was until I started really getting into custom knives. Like, I want that, something be like, oh, this is cool, and then someone getting into knives. Oh, I used to have one from him. I mean, that's what every maker really wants, I guess you could say. Be known, be like a household name. I think that'd be cool one day. But yeah, like I actually really like the collabs. I carry one I carry one almost every day, like production stuff. I don't even have one of my own customs, but I carry one of, the Kaiser Criticals or the Alliance. Just they're kind of users, get into more people's hands, and I don't know.
I enjoy it. That's funny that that you say you don't carry one of your customs. I feel like a lot of makers are like, nah, I don't carry that. Like it's either too expensive to carry, or they're just like, oh man, I'm too backed up. Like I own knives. Like
exactly.
I just feel like if I were a maker, I'd be like, the first thing I did would be like, I just want to make a knife for myself.
You say that, and then when every time you try, and then someone offers you money for the one in your pocket, and you're like, I guess I can always build a new one, and then you never do, and then you just start to collect, and then you start carrying knives from your friends, which is what I usually do.
Exactly. So I don't carry anything high end like folders. I do have custom fixed blades from some friends and whatnot. It's just money that, I mean, I love knives, don't get me wrong. But like that, I'm not into.
But money is better.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in this. This is my business. This is how I make my money. I mean, yeah, if I could, I'll carry one for a week and I'm like, I'm going to sell it, you know? And I haven't done that in a long time, to tell you the truth. Everyone's like, oh, you should have it, you know, and to show people that like are asking about it. I'm like, people that are asking me about a knife, more than likely I'm getting in an argument or trying to tell them why it's worth this much money. And nowadays, no offense to everyone out there that doesn't know anything about them or like custom knives, I don't want to talk to you about knives. Because that's all they do is, I could buy a knife from Walmart for $30. Well, guess what? You can. One of my designs are over there. You could buy this from Walmart. They're like, that's going into it. Like, that's soon. What I want. Coming. Oh yeah, this is $1,000. Or you could go to Walmart and buy the same one of this design, but it's lower price point. Go ahead right now. It's called, you know.
I've had someone want to buy one of my knives. I told them how much, and then I said, well, look, if you really want a great knife, get this. It's $100. It was a paramilitary tool or whatever a few years ago. He's like, well, I'll give you the $120 for your knife. I'm like,
So yeah, so like that's one reason I mean, don't really carry a knife, because it's just money in my pocket.
Yeah,
like dead money in my pocket. I'd rather have, you know, the money to buy materials. So it's like it's a, you know, vicious cycle. You sell a knife to buy materials and make another knife, to sell it to buy more materials to make another knife, you know.
And, I guess I dig it. All right.
You know, I mean, I do. Obviously, I like my designs, but I rather have the money. And, you know, and then going back to how people, man, you should carry a knife to show people. I said, I have this fixed blade my buddy made. Well, that's not yours. I said, well, I mean, are you going to... So the first time I ever said this to someone, I said, yeah, I make knives. Well, how much? I said, you can't afford it. And he got pissed off. Like, straight up,
when I'd be like,
pissed off at me. I mean, I was a little inebriated. We're at the bar.
Just a sketch. It's fine.
Yeah. And I was like, he's like, what do you mean I can't afford it? I said, well, let me take that back. You could probably afford it, but you're going to cry when you hear the price. Shoot, tell me. And I was like, well, they start at $700. And he goes, oh, what are these made out of gold? And like, he like freaked out. Like, I was like, told you. He goes, I can afford it. I'm just not spending money on that. That's stupid. I'll buy a gun. I said, well, I said
I hate that argument.
I said,
I'm like, say, it has nothing to do with hurting people. It's not a weapon. Like, I hate that.
My usually is, so did you use a knife today? Yeah. I said, did you use a gun today? No.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to use, no offense to guns, and, you know, but they're totally different. I'm going to spend $600 on a gun. Well, guess what? That gun's going to either sit on your hip and never be shot, or in a safe, and you're only going to shoot it when you want to go practice.
Yeah.
You know, you don't open your boxes with a gun. You don't, you know, you're not opening your mail with a gun. Like, it's two totally things. Do you want
some ingenuity involved? You could open your mail with a gun.
I mean, you can, but you don't. I mean, you probably trying to look for something to open your box. Like, oh, what's in my pockets? What's in this junk drawer? Go grab a steak knife, you know. Or you grab your knife out of your pocket, and if you want something that's nice, Why not? Don't hold up. Oh, who's here? Who is that?
I don't know, where else do you see yourself going? I mean, what other than production stuff? Like, just what does the future hold?
Huh. That's a question I wish I knew.
See? Matt, what's going to happen tomorrow?
I am making a knife tomorrow. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to finish the knife.
Does it fold?
It does. But, like, moving on to, like, maybe one day getting into, hopefully, like, some autos, maybe. I know it's always been something I would want to do, because, like, my first obsession of a knife was out the front. But
definitely don't want to do those.
No.
Work.
No, I can't. I don't even know. Like, inspired me, like you, and then Jason just did one.
Oh yeah, I forgot you saw mine. I was trying to be sarcastic. I forgot. And
I was like, man, I wish I could do that. I mean, that's like a challenge. I'm not saying I'm bored of what I do, but I want another challenge. And I guess the pantographs first, that would really help with stuff. But
yeah, that's a pretty key thing to start doing those autos.
Yeah, I mean, it would help with,
the new auto.
The thing is, like, right now, I'm just kind of chugging along, doing what I'm doing now, and I don't really have, like, anything super duper crazy planned in the next year or two that I know of. I mean, things could always change, and but I have a couple more productions coming out, like I said. Yeah.
Oh, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably another one with a Wii. I'm going to do another one with Custom Knife Factory. And then I have one with Alliance.
That one a Wii?
Maybe. Possibly.
Is any of this going to be at a Blade show this year? Are we going to see any of this goodness?
I don't know. I mean, that's up to them.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know. They're all dying over there.
Getting that corona.
Ooh. I mean, we had a couple cases of that around here, which is crazy. But
I don't think we've had any here in New York yet. I think we're safe. My mom's like, you should go get some masks and some water. I'm like, I have a shop full of masks, and they do nothing. It's cool.
But anyways, like I said in the beginning, I don't know how interesting I am. I mean, I guess I've been through the stages of no internet with internet and seeing how, like, people grow and whatnot, which is...
I was born, went through puberty, made some knives. I'm here now.
No, I mean, definitely the seeing the transition from social media, that's a pretty key thing.
Time before Instagram.
Yeah, and understanding that there was a knife making community before Instagram, it was different. I don't know if it was better, if it was worse, but it was different.
For sure. Like right now, like my Facebook group, like I absolutely love, like, when it comes to the Facebook groups, and I think Instagram is really slowed down a lot. But like, it's more intimate to me. Like, I have only, like, I don't know, 2,000 maybe people on my Facebook group, and like I talk to almost all of them. But when you have 30,000 people on your Instagram and you don't know but 100 of them, it's like, I mean, yeah, it gets more out there, but I like to talk to knife guys. That's why I like shows so much. Like, we all think alike. We all know what's going on. People that are in my group, probably 90% of them are they are knife guys, or or women, or they're into that, like my stuff or EDC or stuff like that. Now, when it comes to Instagram, you have random kids that are 12 years old following you, or people that have no idea what a custom knife is. Break, stop, no. Sorry, the dog. Told you he's gonna get up and get all crazy.
Get all riley up on us now.
Yeah, so.
You bringing Briggs and White?
Nah, I get you.
Oh, jeez. Briggs, stop. Sorry, we'll keep that in.
Leg. That's what we see on the video.
Well, no, he's chewing on a damn bottle, but you can probably hear it too.
I get it. I've tried the Facebook thing. Problem is, like you said, it's too intimate, and like I don't do personal social media. And when I do the Facebook group, every time I get into it, I kind of die off of it just because it seems too personal and it feels like personal social media.
That's what I like about it. That's what I like about the community. I like some people go to shows to see the knives. I go for the people. Like I love.
Yeah, I go to see people in person. That's why I go to. Shows.
That's what I like. The groups are like it's a small knife show in a group. It's hard to explain. Like I just, in general, I like Facebook groups and chats, like we have our Kentucky chat. That's a little random every once in a while, but I mean, like there's
the only reason I use Facebook is to talk in that chat.
You're in there for shooting the shit with your friends. I mean, hate to say it, but I'm better friends with people in the knife community than I am with like childhood friends. I talk to people that are like into EDC and knives and every single day, but there's days I don't even talk to my brother or my best friend, my childhood best friend, like even though they live 10 minutes down the street, if that. Like I could go weeks without talking to them. It's crazy to think about. You're closer with the community, like the knife community, than you are with your actual family and friends.
Yeah, it's an oddly very tight-knit community.
That is weird.
It is. It's very strange. Like I would never even know who anyone is. Like I don't know. I think Jeremiah. I think I met you last year.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like last year.
Kentucky, probably.
Yeah, the Kentucky show.
Yeah. So I mean, now we're doing this, and I don't know. I have a
Jeremiah in general. I speak to him almost every day.
And
I see my friends on weekends.
Briggs, stop it. Everyone knows Briggs, so it'll be fine, right?
Oh yeah.
That's whatever. We're totally not professional or anything.
But so going back to like where I want to go in life, like, or where am I headed? I'm actually pretty comfortable where I'm at. Like if I stayed where I'm at and consistently just did what I did now and just stayed this way, and I'd be totally fine with that. And because I mean I like where I'm at. I'm not like crazy in demand, but I'm not in the dumps and can't sell a knife. I think I'm pretty centered where I'm at. Like
you're in a pretty good spot from what it looks like.
I think I am. I don't know if I could handle more pressure, I guess you could say. Like I've seen some makers in the past year or two really get like, I'm not saying like super popular. Now they're like everyone wants their stuff and just gets out of control. Like I'm pretty happy where I'm at. If I don't evolve from where I'm at, I mean I'll evolve with the times. Like if something needs to be done. But other than that, like I'm pretty happy with the the sales of my knives and the technology that I use and like how I do things. I'd say I could do this for the rest of my life. Probably do it. Will it happen? I mean, look at Bob and look at even like Philip Booth, and they're still kicking and doing great.
They're still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, why couldn't I do that? And I would say like Trezula hasn't really changed from what he's doing from years ago because he doesn't have to.
Right.
Honestly, I think Terrazula has adapted in the last year more than he has in a long time.
He has, because times are changing a little bit. Even seeing from when I started, from now, things have definitely changed. People step up their game. I mean, his stuff is proven from back then. Yeah, he's changed designs and how he does things and doing productions now. Or collabs with companies, but I would, be happy going in that route until like I have to change, if that makes sense.
No, there's nothing wrong with coasting if everything's going great.
I mean,
yeah, I gotta say that's a pretty comfortable ass answer, man. Like you're like, I'm actually pretty happy.
There's
like
there's nothing wrong with that.
That's legit. Yeah.
You're doing better than most if you're content with what's going on. Like,
I mean,
I was there for a little bit and I was like, oh crap, no, I gotta do more now.
Hey, if some people think that they need to change and need to do that, then hey, so be it. And if they actually have to and they don't, then that's their problem. I mean, there's a lot of like close friends of mine or even knife makers I think are doing really well, and some are even doing better than they did last year, and it's even surpassed me. Am I okay with that? Of course, because I'm happy where I'm at. Like I don't like
you're not comparing.
I just like what I do and the models I do and how I make the things and I make everything. If I could go back 5 years from now and if it was simpler, then I wish I could. I was talking to someone about that the other day. I was like, man, I wish I could make a knife that was just plain tie, regular blade, stone washed, just tie everything. I mean, I would love to do that.
You trying to say something?
No, like.
Joke,
you get your ways and you stress out like trying to make things better and better and better. But I mean, I think they're pretty good for what they are, so I'm pretty happy.
I'm in the other boat. I want to. That's all I do, and I want to do more stuff like you do. But every time I tend to go full dress or dressy, I just lose money.
I mean,
like we said before, it's a business, and my business is set around the $900 average order with just titanium and Zerk accents, Mokutai accents. It's just the little accents, but
nothing wrong with that.
Just it is what it is. Everyone has their own process, and how they run business.
I enjoy what I'm doing. If I don't move on, what I'm doing, I mean, I'm okay with it. So, but eventually, I mean, things change. You never know. Next year it could be totally different. I go day by day, and I'm blessed to be where I'm at, and I can't say anything bad about it or anything like that. So
nice. All right.
I definitely enjoy what I'm doing. Once I start hating it, then maybe I'll start changing things.
And that's when we got a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
then you'll know.
Am I wore out every once in a while? Of course. That's everyone with everything. But what helps is getting out, going to shows, seeing other people succeed, and getting better, and maybe I'll, step up my game a little bit. We'll see what happens. But other than that, I'm pretty content. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess we'll find out. So
being content, just ghosting is definitely a good thing if everything's going well. I was there for a bit, and then I changed some things, and I realized I'm like, I can't keep doing things the way I am. I gotta step up again, and stress comes in where I'm at now. It's just you get to a certain point where it's just going smooth. You're content with what's going on. You're comfortable, and then you decide if you want to keep doing what you're doing, or you want to take on more work, essentially, which is always results in more stress. Like I was good for about a year, content with what I was making and everything else, and I was like, you know what, let's try to have an employee, and like that's what I'm in now. Now that's stressful as shit until I get back to the point of what will be homeostasis, where enough money comes in, enough money's going out, and everything's being paid, and there's enough left over.
I will say this though, I will be one of them people like to come up with a new idea that no one has done before. That's kind of a goal. But every time I think of something, I'm like, oh, it's already been done. Or, man, why didn't I think of that?
Every time I think of something, Bob's done it 20 years ago and Walker's done it 40 years ago. It's like,
no, for sure. I mean,
it's a tricky one, yeah.
But look at, I'm going to bring up.
Like we talked about this in the Kentucky group like a week ago. It's like everyone thinks they did something new, but like Bob and Michael Walker like did everything 20 years ago.
For sure, but look at like Gus, like GTC. He did like that folded, his folded integral or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah, but I saw when I came out, I was like, "That's cool," but he wasn't the first guy to do that either.
I've never seen it. I mean, is it new?
I saw Birch do it. Birch did that a few years prior because when Timascus first came out, it didn't come in thick stock. And then I saw he was doing on USN before on Instagram. I was like, this dude just folded a piece of titanium in half and made it into a goddamn knife.
Oh, are you talking about the Duke?
I don't know.
I don't know what model it is, but this is before Instagram on USN. Birch took a piece of Timascus and folded it in half and made it integral because they didn't make thick Timascus at that time.
Yeah, it's a Duke. Duke's
the model?
Like, no, it's a type of knife that it's a folded over piece of steel, and it's like oh
yeah, that's the friction folder, the Japanese.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like
I guess you could
or something.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but like.
But he's talking about like a frame lock, like but Birch did it prior.
Yeah, see, I didn't know like those things, like, and then like Gus has his clip. Briggs, stop. Sorry, his clip that like hides and whatnot, or even his like his little flipper is different than what Lee Williams does, and maybe one day like let's bring out someone else. Or take two things and make it into one. Kevin Smock. It's weird I'm bringing him up, but he made the button lock, compression lock. Like that's a first. Mm-hmm. Briggs, will you stop? Come here. Sorry, guys. He's chewing up a box. But
boxes.
Oh man, dogs. But yeah, like he made two things into one. Like maybe. Come up with something that's totally different. That would just be, I mean, that's a goal. That's obviously something that would be cool to, like Michael Walker did a liner lock and, innovate something, which definitely would be a goal of mine sometime in the next 10 years would be awesome. But
something like Walker, he created pretty much what we do now. Same thing like if you listen to the Reese Wildlands episode last week, Reese pretty much made the button lock, and if he patented that, he'd be set right now.
I mean, of course, like one day that would be amazing just to come up with something. I mean, man, it's going to be tough because a lot of it's been done already. And just thinking outside the box is...
Yeah, I kind of gave up with that stuff. If something comes to me, at one point I was trying to really hard to come up with something new that made sense and wasn't just kind of like like a lot of guys come up with something new, but I'm like, you're just kind of stretching. It's not really whatever. But like 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago, I thought I came up with the first detent slip joint. And no one did it back then that I knew of. And then I was supposed to come out my first one for the New York Knife Show. And I got sick, so I was like, I'll finish it right after. And then Richard Rogers came out with his. And same thing on bearings, detent, yada, yada, whatever. And a lot of guys, he invented that. And I was like, I was a little upset about it for about a week. And then I realized, Bob Terzillo did that 15 years ago. Okay, well, never mind. It wasn't a new idea either way.
I guess we're in the... I guess we're in that era. A lot of things have already been done. Just kind of improve on them.
Anytime I have an idea, I just like look up old Terzillo's work or Bob's or Walker's work. Or I don't really talk to Walker, but I always try to talk to Bob every show. And like I just try to like pass some ideas that I have to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I did that back in '95." I'm like, "Shit, back to the drawing board."
No, for sure. But yeah, I mean that's really about it with me.
Well, I think striving for innovation is important. So I commend you on that, and definitely kind of trying to think of something new and interesting is
definitely
like Elijah
tough.
with his holes.
It's good, yeah.
I mean, and he
starts shooting blades with Glocks.
And I'm sure. I mean, all that has been done. I mean, he does have a weird lock idea. I don't know if anyone has done it yet. Like underneath, I don't even know if it's possible. I don't even know. It's been years since I seen this design. I was like, I don't even think that will work. And he's like, we'll make it work. I'm like, all right.
Chinese guys will figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's kind of innovated ways of design in a way. Like his what's that one knife that has like it's like 3 pieces or whatever bolted together. It's probably been done, but it hasn't been done like that before, you know? Like that's different.
Vertical integral or something?
Something like that.
I don't know.
That's carbon fiber.
That all comes down to if he was here like he was supposed to be, he was talking it too. But then that was the same thing when he came out with that. He had the whole thing with Custom Knife Factory. They were going back and forth like who did it first. I was like,
yeah,
at this point, it's all a gray area.
This is definitely different though. Like they're two different things, in my opinion.
I'll speak out of my ass here. I actually don't know what the Custom Knife Factory one looks like. I just know I've talked to Elijah about it a bit.
You know what it looks like.
The CKF model, I don't. All of Elijah's, I do.
Gotcha.
You know why you like that knife, don't you, Nick?
Yeah, it has the curves of a lady.
That's right, buddy.
But yeah, it's
I was messing with Elijah.
Times.
Next time you see Elijah, give him one of your folders it's in your pocket and be like, you know why you like this knife?
Because it cuts shit.
I'm not talking to Matt, I'm talking to everyone who listens. Next time you see Elijah, just give him the knife that you're carrying. Be like, do you know why you like this knife?
Because the curves of a woman.
Fellas.
Oh, for sure. I know that for sure. Like I know a lot of like all the listen to all your podcasts already, and everything's been pretty like, oh man, like hearing how Philip Booth, you know, came up and doing stuff, and you know, I think that was probably my favorite podcast already from you guys, and you know, hearing the older guys talk about how they, you know, started, I think it's really cool. I mean, hey, in 10 years from now,
that's what we're just trying to do. We're just trying to record. We're not trying to talk about what's happening now. Their podcasts do that. We're not. I'm a maker. He's a dealer. The other one's a designer. We're not all in the know. Sure. We're trying to talk to knife makers because we have the connections and we know the guys and we can relate and we've been around for a while enough to just kind of talk about the history and how people started.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So most of our episodes are interviewing makers and talking to makers. Every time the episode's like a post show, it just kind of, when just 3 of us, it's kind of a shit show because we don't really. That's like, oh, Nick has this on the bench. Jeremiah bought some things. Elijah's still working on the CAD work. It's like kind of the same stuff every time without another guy to interview.
I hear you. Yeah. Like I just. Am I wrong here?
No, that's right. I'd rather talk to makers about what they're doing.
Yeah, so
I talk to you guys every fucking day.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for you.
Dig it. Yeah, well, that's a hard life. Somebody's got to do it, you know.
Especially talking to Nick. Jeez.
Oh my God, can you believe it? All the time.
I get that Bluetooth in my ear.
And the CNC and the CNC and then some propane grill in there.
And then some propane grill and the compressor blasting in the background.
We're going to talk about Traegers.
And then Matt goes, I got this Traeger, and I make these awesome briskets. And then Nick wants to go buy a Traeger every week because of Matt.
I just cook stuff every once in a while, and I probably the same thing.
Every days.
Not like a
photo from Matt. It's like, I'm making these ribs. Oh, I hate you. Then I come over.
If you ask anyone like in my group, like they know what I like. I did like a Q&A. I think it was my like kind of what Tom Crine does in his group. He does a Q&A like once a week, and I was like, ask me anything. Someone's like, what's your favorite food? And everyone's like, don't let them lie to you. It's beef short ribs. I was like, yeah, you got me there. Because that's like,
true though.
Only thing I cook is that, like, and I post and I'm like, oh, look what I got today. Some beef short ribs on the Traeger. I mean, but it was kind of funny. But
I have like 3 Traegers in my cart figuring this out. Like, I really need this. No, I really need this tool though. No, but I really need this Traeger.
I mean, you don't necessarily need a Traeger. There's other brands. I mean, there's cheaper brands. They're all going to do the same. You know, I'm not going to promote one thing over the other. You know.
Yeah, but that won't be part of that cool group with Traeger guys.
Yeah,
it's a community.
We're on that Traeger sponsorship right now.
Yeah, right.
What are they going to give me another grill?
I'll totally slap. Hey, if you listen, I'll totally slap a Traeger sticker on my CNC. Hey. Make things.
I have a couple Traeger stickers if you need them.
I'm saying if they want to sponsor me, I'll slap them on my CNC.
Just got to get that repost on Instagram.
But yeah, so anything else, guys?
I don't know. You tell us. We covered everything. I think we covered everything to modern day.
Yeah, I was pretty straightforward.
Working on right now.
Yeah, just Hawaii stuff and just orders. I recently did a mammoth build that I really liked. I have another one coming up.
Yeah, I saw that. Was a nice one.
I
wanted to do a mammoth build. I did one, and it crumbled on me, and then I got pissed, and I was like, "Fuck this."
No, it's a fourth time using mammoth, and they've all been pretty simple. I would say so. Like
that.
Problem is that the drill bits grab it, and you get nervous. Like,
no, I was counterboring the screw head, and they had it chipped out on me, and I was like, "Oh, god damn it!"
Oh yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, I was like, this is bullshit. Because it was a nice piece. I was really looking forward to the build, and then that happened. I was like, this is bullshit. I was pissed. Threw it against the wall, broke into more pieces, and I just kept throwing against the wall until I'm like, this is unusable. Great.
Oh, you had a tantrum. Okay.
Yes. I threw a tantrum. Had a lot of time in it.
Man, that happens a lot.
Got some disease. Probably got some prehistoric disease from grinding that stuff without a mask.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, what? See, you don't really take orders. You do take orders. How do people get in contact with you?
Well, I have orders now, and I'm pretty far behind. I'm pretty slow, like I said in the beginning. But I have orders now, and I just trying to get them done. So no orders at the moment, but I do have some orders going to some dealers. So if you want to get something from me, either shows, I do random sales every once in a while, not that many, or some dealers. So to name a few, Knife Center, Fort Henry has a couple coming. And E-Knives has a couple. So if you're looking for something from me in the next, I would say 2 to 3 months, then those dealers will have something. And I post on my Instagram and Facebook that they have it. So you'll actually have a heads up when those come up. But nice. As of right now, no orders. Hopefully I don't take any more orders right now. I'm trying to just finish up what I have. I probably have 30 orders. Just need to get them done. I'm a couple years behind. I'll tell you that. So, But yeah,
chiseling away at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, over the years, like I said before, I was pumping stuff out, and now I take my time and try to make things right. And not saying I could pump them out, but I have more dignity in what I do nowadays. More try to just make things right, perfect. Are they still? Nah, probably not. But
but the pursuit is what counts, right?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, as of right now, no orders, but those dealers, and I'll randomly post some things up. But you follow me on Facebook and one of my groups, there's a lot of secondary, posts going on and whatnot. So that's probably the best bet, is to get secondary if you're really looking for something.
What's the name of the Facebook group?
It is just Christensen Knifeworks group. And you pretty much, it's not private, but you got to obviously answer some questions to get in to weed out some of the people. But I could post it up on my Instagram. Is C Knifeworks if you're looking for that. But yeah, let's go from there. And I mean, if you ever have an idea or something, always hit me up. You never know. Some people back out on orders all the time, and I could squeeze you in if there's something going on, but that's rare nowadays. unfortunately. So,
killer.
You know,
right,
yeah. I mean,
busy is staying alive, essentially, in business.
For sure, slow and steady wins the race, I guess. I always tell people, hey, I know you've waited a long time, but it's worth it because I get better with every knife.
It's true. That's a good point. Yeah. So, later you are on the list, the better the knife's going to be, huh?
I would say. But
good time.
But yeah, for sure.
All right. And all right, so we're no Blade show this year. So what's you're gonna do Hawaii, and then what'd you say again? California and Kentucky.
So yeah, Hawaii is April 18th is the Hawaii show. I'll be there, and then California show. I don't even know the date of that, but yeah, I'll hopefully be doing that California Custom Knife Show, and then Kentucky, which is the first week of December, maybe the second week of December. But I will be at Blade Show just attending. I might do a couple like delivery knives, might have them up for sale and then just deliver them. And then maybe I'll go to the Vegas show and hang out with everyone. But yeah, so just 3 shows that I'll be having a table at this year.
Cool, man. All right.
Yep.
Well, we won't be making it to Hawaii, but I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing you at Blade and seeing what's up.
For sure. I'm definitely looking forward to all the shows this year and hanging out. So
when's the Hawaii show?
That's the best part to me. April 18th. So it's coming up.
And California Custom is October 23rd to 25th, 2020.
All right.
So,
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that because I just got that together and whatnot, but wasn't sure if I was even going to that one either. But yeah.
All right. Well, I definitely I appreciate you taking some time and coming on the podcast with us today. It's been a pleasure hanging out and talking about knives.
Thank you for having me. It was definitely fun. Get out some information. If I bored you, I'm sorry.
Absolutely not. No. Not at all.
But
it's cool to share the shit, like you said. We talk about knives all day either way.
Yeah. No,
work it, we live it, we do it.
For sure. It's pretty much knives day in, day out. So, which is, I'm all right with that. So, yeah.
Cool.
Appreciate it, guys.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for listening. Jeremiah Burbank, PBK Vegas. I'm out of here.
This is Nick Trooper and Event CC Knives signing out.
And Matt Christensen of Christensen Knifeworks. See ya.
You want to take a break real quick?
Wait, is that me?
That's not me.
It's definitely not me.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, let's stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
My bad.
Yeah, you don't know your doorbell?
You're good.
No problem. Got it. Is that me?
Good job, Elijah.
Yeah, good job, Elijah. I was like, it's been an hour and a half. He still hasn't said anything. The mic excuse is bullshit too. He has like a $700 pair of headphones. They have a fucking mic. I was trying to find a fucking gift that was DED. And I saw that one. I was like, you know what? This works.
It's fine.
No, it's not. We're going to book you into a state asylum when you start editing this. I told him, like, yo, if you don't show up, Jared's going to lose it.
I'll fucking kill somebody, guy.
Hey, you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Yep.
Did you hear any of that?
No.
I have like a neighbor, like, I'm like, what is that noise? Like, whose doorbell is that? Because I have over the ear headphones on.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking it's coming through there, but sorry if I messed all that up. But he's like, hey, I've been out for 2 days. I got kicked out of my house. I need your phone. So I'm like, oh, jeez, I don't even know this guy. So can you give me like 5 minutes? Can you give me another 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no problem. We just edited this.
I'm sorry.
No,
I apologize.
Elijah. It's cool.